welcome back to the next instalment of the Creakers. We have got to chapter 18. Grunt, Guff, Scratch and Sniff creaked through the wallop, carrying Mr. Dunstan's stinking coat. "His rottenness be awful pleased with Grunt when he sees this," said Grunt. "And Guff," said Guff. "And began Scratch. "And Sniff," added Sniff happily. "Sorry, Scratch," he quickly added. They all wound their way through the crooked, winding, twisted tunnels deeper into their backwards world. "Shall we stop off on the ways for snacks?" asked Guff hopefully, rubbing his rumbling round belly. "Oh no, you flabby rotbag, we's be getting this to his rottenness right aways," Grunt barked. "But Grunt, we's be having a long night, what with the crafty kidder in, we at least deserve some sludge," Guff pleaded, giving Scratch a little nudge. "Oh yeah, some sludge would go down's a trick," Scratch agreed. All wrong, we stops for a quickie bit, but just one slop," Grunt said sternly, caving in to the demands of Guff's greedy belly. They turned a sharp left, which went right, and almost walked straight into the wall of the tunnel, but just as their pointed noses were about to bosh into it, a brand new hole twisted open. Entwined tree roots and mud cracked apart, and a new path was revealed. As they creaked through the hole, a great raucous sound filled the new tunnel. It came from a building in the distance. I say a building, but it was more like a pile of bricks, rubble, smashed glass and bent steel that might have once been a building, but had long since been demolished. Swinging from the top of the ruin was a bent, rusty old sign which read, "The Bog Tavern." The Creakers had banded together to bring this whole derelict building site down into the wallop, and it was now the place they all went to have a slop or two of sludge after a long night of creaking. The Bog Tavern was always busy. As they stepped through the doorless doorway, the glorious stench of damp and mould filled their snotty nostrils, and they heard a discordant song from the Creaker playing a strange, creaky instrument in the corner. It had the bashed-up keys of an old piano, the dented horn of a trombone, 3 bent pipes from some bagpipes, 1 broken guitar string, and a little triangle on top, all cobbled together into one. "Oh, looks like they got Bouch playing the bagpipes tonight. He's awful. Can't play a single's note wrong," Guff said, rubbing his claws together gleefully. He loved the Bog Tavern. Grunt trudged to the bar, and a respectful hush fell over the rotten room, as every stinking creaker in the place realised who had just set claw inside. "What'll it be, Grunt?" barked Squelch, the landlord, breaking the silence. "4 slops," Grunt replied, "and make 'em quicks, we got important business." "And support scratchings," Guff added to the order, followed by one of his stinky bum trumps. "Wrong away, anything for the king's most untrusted Creakers," Squelch muttered, with a dip of his bold, scabby head. They made their way through the crowds of Creakers who were busy sharing creaking stories. "I nearly got dusted last night," one old Creaker called Bulge said, as he gulped the last mouthful of sludge from his glass. "Chubby Kidderin fell out of bed and landed on me. I broke the rotten thing's fall so it didn't wake up, see? So there I was, trapped with this heavy lump of kidder on me leg, and then the bright started coming." "What to do, Bulge?" asked Barth, the wrinkly Creaker, sharing his table. "Had to gnaw me own leg off, didn't I?" And with that, Bulge plonked his black leg on the table, and all the Creakers who were listening cheered and clinked their goblets together in celebration. Everyone loved it when a Creaker escaped being dusted. "Or stick it back on somehow," Bulge laughed. "Bunch of twitnits," Grunt huffed grumpily, as he and Guff found space at an empty table. Scratch and Sniff made their way to join Bouch on the bagpipes, and began singing along to all the songs they didn't know. "You're always rotten in the face when you comes in here," Guff said to Grunt, as he perched his bottom on an upturned stool. Look at 'em all these useless lumps of creaky flesh. wasting away their hours in here telling nonsense waffle to each other. It's just what we do, Grunt, Guff said. Not me, not Grunt, Grunt whispered. I be wanting more. Guff started. More? More and what? More and creaking, said Grunt. It always be the same, sneaking there to the human world where everything's the right way up, stealing their rubbish night in and night out. Never getting to see my creaklings back home. He pulled out a little photo of his hideously ugly creaker children to show Guff. They gets more disgusting every year, Guff said politely. Thanks, I know just likes their mother. Grunt sighed fondly at the photo before tucking it away. But this be the creaker way, Grunt. Creaking is what we does. It puts muck on the table and mulch over our heads, Guff said. Have you never thought in your noggin what it might be like not having to creak about, not having to do the nasties up there, not stealing things that is ours? Grunt replied in a hushed voice. 4 quick slops, interrupted Squelch before Guff could answer, spilling most of their sludge on the table as he put their overflowing goblets down. Made 'em just the way you like 'em, Grunt. Rotten eggs, cheese flakes, broccoli juice, and I put an extra snot drop in for you just tonight. On the house, Squelch added as he wiped his nose. Cheers, Guff grinned, stuffing the whole packet of pork scratchings in his mouth, along with the foil wrapping. Cheers, Grunt muttered and made to take a swig of his sludge, but before the chipped glass touched his cracked lips, the whole building site around them began to rumble. The rumble became a shake. The shake became a jolting wallop quake. Broken bricks broke again and fell to the ground. Slops of sludge smashed and spilled. The cracked glass in the windows shattered completely. Takes cover, ordered Grunt as he dived on top of Lucy's dad's stinking jacket to protect it. Grunt, cried Scratch. Guff, called Sniff. What's going on? Yelled Guff over a mouthful of pork scratchings. The rumbling slowly calmed down. The shaking settled. The wallop quake was over and the whole bog tavern was silent in shock. What the muck was that, Grunt? Grumbled Squelch, the landlord, as he climbed out from under his bar. Grunt got to his feet, brushing debris from his precious stinking coat. That, he replied grimly, is a kiddering in the wallop. Oh, hide, Lucy, quick, before they find you.